The wackest thing I've ever heard in my life. Please don't ever play that again.
Mm-hmm.
He has a familiar voice. He's been around for a decade. We love his voice. When the shit comes on, it sounds good. I was talking with a friend of mine. I was halfway through the album. I didn't listen to it the night it came out. I waited. And she texted me and said, "This is a parody album." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "This feels like a parody album to me." And I was like, all right, that's weird. And I kept that in my mind as I listened to the rest of it, and I listened to it the second time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I texted her back and said, "I completely agree with you, especially when looking in that lens in the back of your head. This feels like a Drake parody album. I know that sounds weird because Drake made it."
Mm-hmm.
It feels like he was trying to recreate other great Drake songs that have already happened, and they missed the mark from the great ones that already existed. It felt like someone else was trying to make a Drake album. Mm. And I know that may not make sense to some people, but I have said that I've had this conversation with a few people, and they're like, "Yo, you don't need to explain it. I know exactly what you're talking about." It felt like someone was making a Drake album and they weren't Drake. Because Drake has set the bar so high. That's why I'm comparing it.
Dark night feeling. Gotta be a hero, but live long enough to see yourself become a villain. Wise words from Jay-Z. Wise words from Jay-Z, man. And, you know, I seen Rory's take, man. Shout out to Rory and Maul for, you know, having a successful podcast. I think they 12 episodes in, and y'all seen his take. And so I ain't gonna, you know, go back and, you know, recap what he said. I just don't agree with it. I don't agree with it. And I think that one, Roy has been shaded by Drake a few times. You know, nothing real hard, but I think that, you know, that could have something to do with his opinion. And I also think his logic was a little flawed when he told us that basically he halfway listened to the album and then somebody else told him their opinion of the album, and then he listened to the other half and said, "I agree." This is why somebody like him, somebody like, you know, me, what I'm trying to do, I want to get to that level. But this is why you have to, at least to me, I think you should just listen to music by yourself. You shouldn't be having conversations and opinions with people about an album until you actually listen to the whole thing yourself, you know? Because to me, it sounds like Rory started listening out for a parody type music after he had that opinion. It sounded like he just went through it, you know, not with his own ears. He went under it and listened to the album with somebody else's opinions and thoughts. And that's the number one no-no for me. So that's why I don't agree with him. And the reason I said that Jay-Z quote at the beginning is because I just feel like Drake is at a point in his career where he's been on top for so long, people start nitpicking and extra critiquing his albums and his work. And it's just like, now it's kind of like a little out of control to me. Like, he said this is the album that Tory Lanez would make to sound like Drake. First of all, I love Tory's talent. I think Tory has talent, but one thing I just don't. I just felt like that was some extra shit. I'm not even gonna get into that. That's some extra shit. I just think that, you know, people just start, like I said, they start overly critiquing him and they just find something wrong with his shit. People saying, "Oh, Drake." I've been seeing this narrative. Like I seen Charlamagne say, it just shows me that Drake doesn't have another level. You know, he's always gonna sound like, you know, a regular Drake album. What are y'all expecting from Drake? Niggas is saying another level. How do you go higher than number one? What is the next level? We don't do this with the J. Coles. We don't do this with Kendrick Lamar. We don't do this with, you know, anybody at the top, even Kanye West. Like, we don't do this shit to them. Like, oh, he he doesn't have another level. What do you mean he doesn't have another level? Like, nigga, he's at his highest level. He's on top of his game. People talking about, oh, Drake, all Drake albums, you know, they sound the same. Rory said it just sounds like he was trying to replicate his old sound, his own sounds. Nigga, how is he trying to replicate his own sounds when he's the one who made the music? Nigga, he's just sounding like him. He's sounding like Drake. It's Drake sounding like Drake. I don't know what y'all want from him. Like, y'all want him to rap about, first of all, people is talking about, I've seen people on Twitter talking about, you know, Drake needs to, you know, he never talks about topics of the, you know, current events and world today. Like, nigga, that's not Drake. Drake is one of those dudes, like, he don't want to talk politics. I don't want to hear politics from Drake. We don't want to hear that from Drake. And that's the issue. Like, people want you to, first of all, and Drake is Canadian, bro. Like we said on the podcast, let's drop it today. We came to a conclusion. Drake is Canadian. What is Drake gonna talk about? Life is good. Life is good for Drake, you know. He didn't have to go through the same struggles y'all do. So I just don't. I don't get it. I don't get the critiques that people are saying about this album. Rory, I 100% disagree with you. Like I said, I just think we nitpicking. I think you got a little bias because Drake has thrown shade at you. You know? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me, man. Y'all tell me what y'all think, man. Do y'all agree with Rory? Do y'all think that he's just trying to replicate his old sound, you know, like an old success formula? Or do y'all necessarily look at how I look at it? Like, at some point, you know, when you on top for so long, people is going to find a reason to, you know, say they don't like you, you know. Another thing, people say they want him to switch his sound up. But you know how that goes. When you try to switch your sound up, then they hate you for that. If you make the same type of sound too long, they hate you for that. So, shout out to Rory and Ma. Follow me, subscribe, comment, talk to me. I talk back. We out, baby. Block.
Subscribe for Daddy channel.